I always like to start with our mission statement, that is delivering great personalised service since 1979. Our people, values and systems guarantee you'll be happy with the end result. These words mean a lot to us and it's been in place here for a long, long time. The message out of here is we've been around since 1979, which is a long time in this sort of industry. People are core to our business. And when I mean people, I mean our staff in our business as well as our customers. Our values and our systems, and we have lots of strong systems. You know, to put it plainly, we eat our own dog food. We run on IBM gear here, for example. We sell AS400s, we run our business on AS400s. We have virtual machines in here that we've set up and run. We run the IBM Endpoint Manager software here ourselves, and so on and so on and so on. I could go on forever. But at the end of the day, what we always do is we guarantee that you're going to be happy with the end result. So it's our first term of our trading. When you contract with us on anything, that's what we say to you, is that we guarantee that you're going to be happy with the end result. And if you don't pay us for it. That's sort of the short version of that. So, moving on. It's just a few points about our business that we're sort of a little bit proud of. So I'm going to brag a little bit. But we're an IBM Premier business partner. So in the regime of partners within IBM, we're sort of kind of up there. So to be up there, you know, have Premier status, you need to have some real certs, real qualifications. You need to spend a lot of money with IBM and all those sorts of good things. And there's some values and some savings that we can end up passing on to customers as a result. We're a privately owned business, and like I said earlier, we've been established since 1979, and we trade throughout Australia, New Zealand, and as some of you know, the Pacific Islands as well. Our sales reps on average, this is a stat that we're really proud of, and like I said, I've just punched out a few here, but our sales reps on average have a tenure with the company of 8 years. And once again, that's sort of a stat which is nearly unheard of in this sort of industry. And what it really does, it provides a lot of stability. It provides a lot of stability to our customers. It provides a lot of stability to our business as well. So you're probably, as a customer, talking to the same rep that you've, probably started talking to, So, and you know what, we're across a lot of products. So yeah, sure, our big focus of our business is IBM. We've got a lot of products which pretty much support what we do, Lenovo and the like, Juniper, Cisco, etc. This is just a slide that we wanted to put in, which is one of the awards that we received at IBM recently. So if I talk a little bit about our staff, the sales reps, so for example, that I was talking about earlier, technically proficient sales team. So you're not sort of, when you call up and you're talking to one of our reps, you're not sort of talking to somebody who's just there to take an order or similar. There's someone who actually understands business, understands the products that they're talking about. We back that with pre-sales and post-sales support within the organisation, but you're talking to someone who kind of knows a little bit about what you're talking about for starters. We've got a really powerful logistics team, and this probably really sets us apart in the industry, and there's a few customers here that can probably attest to that. It really stems back from our brokerage days before we really had an IBM partnership. Our IBM partnership is about 15 years old, but prior to that, we really stood on our own 2 feet, and we really needed to be good at what we did. And as a result, we put in some awesome systems and procedures in place that enable that to happen. At the end of the day, our business is based on repeat business, and that's what's really important to us. So we need to make sure you're happy with the end result, and repeat business is really important to us. Therefore, ensure quality results is key, high customer satisfaction. In fact, statistically, if you've dealt with computer merchants somewhere, you will deal with us again, which is really cool, and we want to keep that going. And we pride ourselves on being easy to deal with. The only purpose or the main purpose, I shouldn't say only, the purpose of this slide really is publicly recognised by IBM year after year in a whole range of different things, and we're really proud of that, and that says a lot about our strength, our relationships collectively. But yeah, so I'm not going to go through each and every one of those, but it really is something that we hold high and we're very proud of. So that's the short version of about computer merchants. What I would like to lead into now is to talk a little bit about Endpoint Manager. Do we all know what an endpoint is? So an endpoint is a PC, is a laptop, is an iPad, is an iPhone, etc., etc., etc. And that sort of extends my knowledge of what this product is. So with that, I might throw over to David.
The first issue that we often come across is increasing power costs. Power's not getting any cheaper, okay? those desktops and laptops and everything running overnight, right, they're starting to cost money and serious money. Visibility of what hardware and what software and what I've actually got in my environment. So it's all very well to say, oh, I want to manage my endpoints, but what endpoints have you got? Okay? Is your Excel spreadsheet accurate? Okay? That's how people are keeping track of their equipment. Thanks, Jenna. Okay? Software management. How do you keep all your software up to date? You know, installing new packages, removing old packages. What version of Adobe Reader is everyone actually running out there? Okay? Across the 500 desktops that are in my environment. Data security. Protecting my data, protecting my information. There's also the security of the device. So protecting it against viruses, malware, spyware, known security issues. Okay? Multiple sites. Multiple sites. Sometimes it's very easy to manage your environment when all my PCs and all my desktops and everything is within a minute's walk of where I am. Okay? What if it's a 2-hour plane flight? What if it's a 10-hour bus ride? Okay? How do we manage those devices? How do we do it? Often over multiple sites, it's limited bandwidth connections. So how do I keep everything maintained on that site over my 1 meg link? Okay? And last but not least, mobile device management. Are these challenges new? They're not. 16 years ago, I was doing IT support in education in Victoria. These issues, now, at that time, mobile device management wasn't mobile phones, it was laptops and wireless and that kind of thing. It was the new technology. These issues have been around for years and years. My question is, if we've known about them for so long, why do we still have these issues? Right? Why are we so bad at resolving these issues? Why is it such a challenge for us when there's so many smarts and so much available to us in the business that we work in IT? Right? I've got a couple of thoughts on that, and this is what I'd like to cover on the next slide. What is stopping us? I think the traditional solution model stops us. And by traditional solution model, I mean if you had a problem with AV, you would go and buy an AV product, and you would run up the server and you'd run up all the agents, and that would take care of your AV. If you needed something to do OS deployment, you would go and buy a product to do OS deployment, and you would set up its server and you would configure it and use it, and away you go. If you wanted to update your Windows workstations, you'd go and run up WSUS, and you'd use that to update your Windows workstations and keep everything up to date. All right? But the problem is, while all of those products are good at doing their job, that's all they do, is just that job. And often they're not very flexible. Right? Try updating a Mac laptop with WSUS. Does it work? No. Right? What that also means is that whenever we have a new technology come in, it gives us a big challenge in our organisation. So when we take for example Windows 8, when you bring Windows 8 into your environment, how many of those standalone systems are going to need to be updated to deal with Windows 8? When you bring mobile devices into your environment, how many of your systems need to be updated and reconfigured to support mobile devices? All right? This is what I think slows us down, it stops us, it removes our flexibility. All right? One of the other things that also stops us is the nice to have versus the business value. All right? Often you talk to IT administrators, you go, I'd love to be able to know what software is out there. I'd love to be able to produce a report on my Microsoft Office versions in 5 minutes when the boss comes and asks me. That's great, you can get software to do it, but how do you quantify what it's worth to the business for you to be able to produce a report in 5 minutes rather than a day or 2 days, or to give it to someone else to do and it goes around and 2 weeks later, oh, we finally got a report on Office, but our subscriptions have expired and there's all kinds of issues. Well, how do you quantify it? Right? What else? Skills and resources. So obviously with a traditional model, all right, if I've got 10 servers running all different aspects of my environment, I need people who are skilled and resources available to maintain all those systems. Okay? And implementation challenges. So there are solutions out there that are starting to move from the traditional solution model to integrated solutions. The thing to watch out for is that a lot of them, the implementation of them might be a 3-month job for a 5-man team, all right? And obviously, well, that stops us because that costs a lot of money to get that up and running, all right? So how do we get around these challenges? Okay, we all have these challenges, okay? One of the great things is that IBM also had this challenge, okay? They needed a solution to manage over 100,000 endpoints, all right? An effective solution, one that they could manage laptops and devices all over the globe, okay? In July, IBM went and acquired BigFix, which was a product out of the States that was really specialised around desktop management, and particularly around patch management, not just of Windows desktops, but Linux and Apple and other devices. Right? What IBM then did was added that into their Tivoli portfolio and called it TEM, Tivoli Endpoint Manager. When I worked on TEM, it was called TEM. If I say TEM and not IEM, you'll just have to forgive me because it just rolls off the tongue. Right? The great thing is that once they brought it into the Tivoli portfolio, they started to integrate other Tivoli functions and Tivoli products into what TEM, IEM could do. So they added things like Tivoli Remote Control. They added Tivoli OS deployment because the OS deployment in BigFix was not really OS deployment. But IBM sorted that, okay? Not only that, but then they've continued to run with it and they've said, well, let's make it a little bit closer to our heart. As of this year, it's now IBM Endpoint Manager, right? So you can remove that Tivoli Tivoli Storage Manager. That scared people off. It's IBM Endpoint Manager. The great thing about it is, and what's reassuring about it, is that IBM actually use it to manage their own endpoints. And the IBM guys, Pete's probably got the numbers. I think it's about, is it 250,000 endpoints?
We got nearly 800,000.
And run by how many servers?
3.
3 servers across the globe, right? Which gives you an idea of how effective the product is, right? One of the things that BigFix really focused on when they developed the product was on low bandwidth connections and being able to do the endpoint management over low bandwidth. All right. Why did they choose IEM? What I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over to Todd, and Todd's going to go through the architecture of IEM and why it's good, and some of the features of IEM, and it will be just a quick list. All right. I'll hand over to Todd.
So what is the core architecture that is available to you in IEM? As we sort of know, there is only one server that can handle over 100,000 endpoints. IBM have 3 servers to handle over 500,000. You also can install relays that will actually improve the patching process of your endpoints in different locations. Each endpoint only requires a single software installation of an agent to manage those endpoints and to get all the information about those endpoints to you. It actually can use low bandwidth requirements. You don't need a high-speed connection to do your patch management at your remote locations. You actually get a software console that actually provides you with all the management features that you use within IEM. And you can install that on as many machines as you need. And ultimately, IEM is a single software solution that actually provides you with multiple features. So let's have a look at some of the lifecycle management features that are available to you in IEM. You're able to get a list of your inventory of your hardware and software across all of your endpoints. Your patch management process supports Windows servers and desktops. You can also patch management out your Mac OS X and Linux systems. You can also patch your Windows products, your applications, Microsoft Office, your Visual Studios, and your third-party applications like Adobe, Java, Firefox, Skype, WinZip, Winamp. I can keep going through a couple of others. iTunes is all part of the standard package. Some of the security and antivirus features available to you in IEM is the antivirus is provided to you by Trend Micro out of the box. It gives you access to use third-party antivirus products from Computer Associates, McAfee, Symantec, and Sophos without any loss of ability. You actually have data loss prevention capability to stop people from sending data over an email chain, over an instant message ability. You can also actually control USB devices to stop people from bringing in their personal USB device, plugging into that actual endpoint and copying data to it. They do not let access to. You actually have the also ability to actually manage your security by using industry standards from DSIS and the FDCC out of the United States and seeing, do you match the levels that they recommend that you should have on your endpoints? And if you don't meet those standards, you actually can fix those compliance issues as well. So let's have a look at some of the other additional features that you get within IEM. You have the ability to manage your mobile devices, your iPhones, your iPads, your iPods, Google tablets, Google phones, as all part of it within IEM. You can track on your usage of software. You want to see how often Microsoft Word is being used. You can see the total amount of time it's being used in your network or when the last time it was used by a specific user. You can control the power settings on your desktops and laptops. If you're seeing a lot of PCs are being run for 45 minutes before they shut down, you can take it down to 15 minutes to save your money back on your power again. Non-people that actually are non-technical can actually get into the IEM software as from a web reports feature and actually start pulling in information out of that. They can see what version of CPUs are installed on PCs, how many copies of Windows 7 you have installed, what RAM is available on those systems. You have the ability to do remote control and support for those users in those remote locations. So you no longer need to spend the time on the phone. You can remote in, like remote desktop, connect to the machine and actually do the work for them and just give them the control back when you're ready. And finally, you actually can deploy your operating systems through the IEM structure as well. So what do a lot of people consider IEM? We see it as from two perspectives. One is it is a one product solution that gives you access to all of those features, and it's flexible enough and powerful enough to grow within your business. You might have a small structure now. If you add in a lot of machines later on, the functionality is still there to improve on that and add in new features when you actually like them. From a financial perspective, you actually get to the ability to lower your expenses by actually decreasing your infrastructure. How many servers do you need to manage your endpoints? And your staff actually gain time by having to only use one product to actually manage all those endpoints. Finally, you actually increase your savings based on power. Because you're using less servers, you're using less power. Because you're able to turn your laptops and your desktops down to a different time frame from 45 minutes to 15 minutes, you save power in the long run. And finally, you're losing less bandwidth. You no longer need to patch from the Microsoft side to all of your endpoints. You patch to your server or to a relay, and they handle the power, the actual patching of them to those endpoints. So we move on to what are the next steps that we actually have. And for this thing, I'll move it back to Mark.
So what are the next steps after hearing all that? So next steps are talk to us, communicate with us, tell us your story, tell us your issues, tell us if this resonates with you, talk to us, because we can help design and structure, a solution that can work for you. We're going to throw the ball back into your court and say, tell us what you want.